He said the words that destroyed her. I love someone else. He walked out, unaware she was carrying twins. 4 years later, Sienna is a CEO, and he becomes her newest client. He freezes when he sees two kids, with the same eyes as his. Sienna, are they mine? She steps closer, whispering, if you're brave enough to know the truth, follow the clues. Because what he doesn't know is, someone else will do anything to keep that truth buried. Hi, beautiful souls. I'm your storyteller, James. Before we dive into today's story, I have one small request. Please subscribe and support this channel. It's not just my journey, it's ours. Without your support, I am nothing. Your one click keeps this family growing. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Now, let's begin. The rain drummed softly against the penthouse windows. Sienna stood on the balcony, letting the wind kiss her cheeks. The city below shimmered with reflections of red brake lights and glittering towers. Her fingers lightly brushed the cold railing. The scent of wet pavement drifted upward from the streets. Raindrops landed on her eyelashes, but she didn't blink. She liked the feeling of rain washing away noise, of letting her thoughts breathe, of pretending Taw wasn't scared of the future. Behind her, footsteps, steady, slow, deliberate. Alexander Hayes stepped into the soft glow of the balcony lights. He never rushed, he never chased. Except now, he was here. He stopped just close enough to invade her space. Not touching, but claiming ownership anyway, as if her existence was something he had purchased. You make chaos look beautiful, he murmured. His voice wrapped around her, low and dangerous. The kind of voice that made promises sound like threats, and threats sound like temptations. Sienna didn't turn. Not yet. She had learned to guard her heart with silence first. Silence gave her control. The wind lifted her hair. It brushed against his jaw for a split second. His breath hitched, barely, but she felt it. Slowly, she shifted a step away. Not enough to insult him, just enough to protect herself. I don't do chaos, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. I do commitment. Her words hit the air like a challenge, bold, simple, non-negotiable. Alexander's expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened, just enough to reveal the crack in his armor. He hated losing power in conversations. He had conquered markets, destroyed competition, built empires. But the word commitment? That word felt like a prison. Commitment meant vulnerability. Commitment meant giving someone the power to leave. Commitment meant they could break you. He didn't do that. You think everything needs rules, he said. And you think nothing does, she answered. For the first time, he blinked. She had seen through him, accurately. Sienna finally turned to face him. Her eyes held a softness that felt like home. She wasn't intimidated by his wealth, or his power, or his reputation. She looked at him like a man, not like a legend, not like a trophy. That annoyed him and thrilled him. He tapped a raindrop from her cheek with his thumb. His touch was gentle, too gentle for a man known for ruthlessness. You don't get to walk away, he said softly. I wasn't walking away, she whispered. I was giving you space to be honest. Honesty. He didn't know what to do with that word either. He stepped closer, eliminating the distance she created. The air changed, thicker, charged, restless. I don't like losing things I want, he said. You can't own people, Alex. He leaned his forehead against hers. His breath brushed her lips. She could feel the hesitation in his pulse, the intensity in his grip. He wanted control. She wanted partnership. She waited, not pushing, not begging, just waiting to see who he really was. Lightning flashed across the horizon. In its brief illumination, their shadows merged, just for a heartbeat. He swallowed. She didn't know that Alexander Hayes had never said, I will stay to anyone. not to girlfriends, not to business partners, not to family. Because staying meant roots, and roots meant losing freedom. But Sienna, she made stillness feel like something he wanted. He brushed a raindrop from her lip. His voice dropped lower, rougher. "Fine," he said. "I'll marry you." Time froze. Her eyes widened, not because she expected the answer, but because she didn't expect it so easily. "You're serious?" she asked. He nodded once, sharp, sure, final. "Do you always decide life-altering things this fast?" "No," he said quietly. "Only when something matters." Her heart stumbled. Just one uneven beat. This man never made declarations, but right now he was giving her what she asked for. A promise. Sienna's defenses wavered. Her smile was small, fragile, dangerous. It held hope. "Then I believe you," she whispered. He hated how her trust made him feel, exposed, human. Like he had something to lose. He didn't believe in forever. He didn't believe in titles like wife or family. He believed in moments, and power, and strategy. But Sienna? She believed in future. She believed in them. She reached for his hand. Her fingers were warm, steady, open. He stared at their hands intertwined. Her thumb brushed over his knuckles, an unconscious gesture of affection. Affection was not in his vocabulary. He studied her face. Tiny raindrops clung to her skin like crystals. Her eyelashes trembled. Her lips parted, unfiltered, real. She looked like a future he wasn't ready for, but she looked like the only future that ever mattered. Her smile carried trust. His silence carried fear. She finally leaned her head on his chest. He froze. No one leaned on him. People obeyed him, feared him, respected him, but no one rested on him. He wasn't sure what to do with softness. He wasn't sure how to hold something without breaking it. He closed his eyes. His hand hovered above her back, hesitant. Finally, slowly, he placed his palm against her spine. She exhaled. Relief poured from her body into the air around them. In that moment, standing on a rain-kissed balcony, with the city humming beneath them, she felt safe. He felt trapped, but he didn't let go. Not yet. His phone buzzed. He glanced down. Caller ID. "Olivia, VIP priority." His eyes changed, cold, guarded, like a door slamming shut. Sienna didn't see it. Pregnancy test, positive. Sienna stared at the tiny blue line as if her whole world fit inside it. Her breath hitched, her fingers trembled. This moment was supposed to feel magical. Instead, her heart thudded with fear. She stepped into the living room. Alexander stood with his back to her, scrolling through his phone. He didn't notice her at first. He rarely noticed anything that wasn't tied to his empire. "Alex," she whispered. Her voice cracked, fragile like thin glass. He finally looked up. Those cold, perfect blue eyes met hers. She held the test in her palm. "We're having a baby." For a moment, silence. The world felt suspended in the air. No rain, no wind, no noise existed except his breathing. Alexander blinked slowly. His face didn't soften. No excitement, no surprise. He only forced a polite smile, the kind you give a stranger asking for directions. "I'll handle it." His tone wasn't gentle. It wasn't loving. It was transactional. "We'll marry tomorrow," he added. Just like that. Tomorrow. Like scheduling a meeting. Not a milestone, not a celebration. Sienna searched his expression. There was no trace of joy, no spark, only obligation. "Tomorrow," she repeated. She wanted to be happy. She wanted to believe he meant it, but it felt rushed, as if he wanted to get it over with. He nodded without hesitation. "I'll handle everything." That sentence stabbed her. She wanted them to handle it. Together. Not him alone. He grabbed his jacket, already walking toward the door. already disappearing into another world, a world where emotions were weaknesses. Sienna whispered, "Alexander," but he didn't turn back. The door clicked shut. The sound echoed like abandonment. She stood alone with the test, alone with a miracle, alone with a fear she didn't want to name. The next day, no family, no guests, no flowers, just a private lawyer in a silent conference room, cold glass table, city lights reflecting in its surface, sterile, emotionless. No ring, no vows, no kiss, only paperwork. Alexander sat across from her. He didn't reach for her hand. He didn't even meet her eyes. His voice was clipped. "Sign here." He slid the papers forward without looking. The room smelled like expensive ink and legal terms. Everything felt mechanical, hollow, wrong. Sienna swallowed her pride. Maybe marriage didn't have to be romantic. Maybe love could grow later. She signed. Her signature shook. A tremor of doubt ran up her spine. She forced herself to believe. Maybe this was just who he was, a man who didn't show emotion. Alexander quickly signed his part. To him, it was just a transaction, business complete. He checked his phone immediately. A notification lit up the screen. He smiled, lightly. Not at her, at the message. Sienna felt invisible. That night, she walked down the dim hallway. The rain outside tapped against the windows like restless fingertips. She heard his voice through the slightly opened study door. Alexander spoke quietly, soft, tender, not the way he spoke to her. "No, Olivia." Her blood ran cold. She froze. He had never used that tone with her. "Nothing has changed," he whispered. Every word ripped through her. Nothing has changed. He still loved someone else, someone named Olivia. Her vision blurred, tears pooled, her throat tightened. He wasn't whispering to her. He wasn't excited for their baby. He wasn't proud to be married. He was just trapped. By obligation, by responsibility, by her pregnancy. Sienna backed away from the door. Her legs felt weak, her chest burned. Her heart had never felt so heavy. She entered the bedroom alone, sat on the edge of the bed, hands shaking, mind spinning. Hours later, she opened the marriage envelope. Maybe reading it would make her feel married. Maybe it would feel real. She scanned the papers slowly, line by line. Her heart pounded, her eyes narrowed, her breath stopped. One box was empty, the witness signature, blank, untouched, meaning the marriage was not valid. Her hands shook violently. He knew. He knew when she signed. He knew the signature was missing. He let her sign anyway. He let her believe she was his wife. He let her fall deeper. Her pulse throbbed in her ears, her vision blurred with betrayal. She whispered to herself, "Was I ever anything more than a mistake?" Her world shattered. Sienna held the unsigned papers against her chest, realizing the truth. She wasn't his wife. She was just temporary. The elevator doors slid open with a cold, metallic groan. Sienna didn't even feel her feet touching the ground. She walked. No, she stormed. The printed marriage papers were crushed in her fist, her vision blurred with betrayal and tears she refused to let fall. She whispered to herself, "He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't play me like a game." Her heart fought her logic. Her logic was losing. She reached the top floor, Alexander's floor, the one guarded like a fortress. Even the receptionist stood when Sienna walked in. Her face showed surprise, almost pity. "Mrs. Montgomery." The title sliced like a lie. Sienna didn't stop to correct her. She didn't stop at all. She pushed the heavy glass doors open. Her heartbeat hammered against her ribs. Her palms stung where the paper edges dug into her skin. She expected to see him working, focused, busy, stressed. Instead, she saw her, Olivia, Perfect hair, perfect posture, perfect confidence. Alexander's hand rested comfortably, intimately, on Olivia's waist, like it belonged there, like she belonged there. Air left Sienna's lungs like someone punched her. Her voice cracked. You vanished without a word. No accusation, no anger, just pain. Alexander didn't move his hand from Olivia, didn't hide it, didn't even blink. He turned slightly, cold, composed. This was temporary, Sienna. Temporary. The words sliced her open. Her fingers trembled around the papers. She forced air into her lungs. This marriage, it matters. To me. He looked at her like she was a stranger intruding on his day. I told you not to get attached. I wasn't attached, she lied. I was in love. Olivia leaned against Alexander lazily, like watching a show. Her smirk taunted, he chose me, not you. Sienna swallowed the burning taste of humiliation. Her voice trembled. I'm pregnant. Every sound in the room froze. Even the air refused to move. Alexander's expression barely shifted. He didn't pull away from Olivia. He didn't reach for her. Olivia leaned closer to him as if the information entertained her. Alexander spoke, voice flat. You should have told me sooner. Sienna blinked. Her throat tightened. I told you the moment I knew. You should have found out sooner then, Olivia said smoothly, like pregnancy was a business deadline she missed. Sienna stared at Alexander, begging for one sign of humanity, one sign he cared. He gave none. Instead, he said words that punched the breath out of her. I love Olivia. The world stopped spinning. The floor dissolved beneath her feet. Sienna tried to step back, but her knees buckled. All she could manage was a broken whisper. You promised me marriage, a family. Alexander shrugged. No, I promised to figure things out. You assumed the rest. Olivia brushed invisible dust off her shoulder. Chin tilted with the confidence of someone who always gets what she wants. She was just a placeholder, someone to keep you company. The words slammed into Sienna's chest. She shook her head slowly. No, no, you can't mean that. Alexander's expression remained ice. You were temporary, a warm distraction, nothing more. Sienna pressed a hand to her stomach, protective, instinctive. Her voice cracked like shattered glass. You're talking about the mother of your child. He turned away. I don't want a child with you. Her breath vanished. Her vision blurred. The room wasn't steady anymore. Her ears rang. Her pulse hammered in her skull. I loved you, she whispered. Not loud, just real. Alexander didn't turn. Olivia leaned in and murmured, He never wanted you. The sentence detonated inside her chest. Her fingers loosened. The papers slipped from her hand, scattering across the floor like snow. She stared at them. The papers she signed with dreams. Dreams turned into ashes. Her knees wobbled. Her stomach twisted. The room tilted. Sienna, someone called, but the voice sounded far away. She grabbed the edge of the desk to steady herself. Her breath came too fast, too sharp, too shallow. A sharp pain stabbed her lower stomach. Hot, violent, unforgiving. She gasped. Her vision flickered. Alexander, something's wrong. Her voice barely existed. He didn't move toward her. He didn't reach for her. He just watched, expression unreadable. She touched her thigh. Her palm came back warm, wet, red. Her stomach dropped. Blood. Too much. Way too much. Her legs gave out. The world spun into a blur. Her body fell, hitting the floor with a soft thud. Alexander finally moved, but not fast enough. Olivia screamed, Sienna! Someone call an ambulance! Sienna's eyes fluttered. Her vision dimmed. The ceiling lights smeared into white streaks. Her last thought was not of Alexander, not of Olivia, but of the baby. Please stay with me. Darkness swallowed her. Sienna fainted, blood spreading across the marble floor. Bright white lights, cold air, metal instruments clattering, voices overlapping. Sienna's body was lifted onto a stretcher. Masks hovered above her face. Someone pressed an oxygen mask to her mouth. She's losing too much blood. We need to move now. Her consciousness drifted in and out, slipping through fingers like water. A sharp flash of pain tore through her abdomen. She tried to speak. No sound came out. Darkness, then light, then pain. Stay with us, Sienna. A woman's voice, firm, steady, human. The stretcher slammed through double doors. Machines beeped in aggressive rhythm. Metal trays rattled. Her body trembled uncontrollably. Her fingers twitched toward her stomach. The baby, the baby, the baby. She tried to lift her head. It felt like lifting a mountain. Please save my baby, she managed, barely audible. A nurse leaned over her, eyes soft with compassion. We're going to try, but you need to stay awake. Sienna fought her fading vision. She didn't care about her pain. She only cared that two little hearts were beating inside her. The doctor pushed her toward surgery. We have fetal distress. Move. Sienna's hand slipped from the stretcher. A nurse caught it. I know you're scared. Keep breathing. Cold scissors cut through fabric. Warm blood-soaked sheets beneath her. Her body jerked involuntarily. A tear slid down her temple. They can't die because of him. They can't suffer like I did. Her voice cracked. Tell them. I wanted them. The nurse squeezed her hand. We'll tell them. The lights above blurred into streaks. Her vision dimmed. Scalpel. Someone counted beats. Someone called out numbers. Fast. Urgent. Life or death. Sienna's world narrowed to one thought. Stay alive for them. The anesthesiologist leaned over her. Deep breaths. Her breath shook. Her eyes fluttered. Darkness swallowed her whole. Silence for a moment. Peace. Then a sharp, piercing cry. Not one. Two. Her eyelids twitched. Her eyelashes trembled. The room shifted back into reality. Warm, soft, blurry. She heard tiny cries like fragile declarations of existence. A voice near her ear whispered, You have twins, Sienna. Her eyes opened slowly, as if weighted with grief. The doctor held two tiny newborns, one wrapped in pastel pink, one in pale blue. Their bodies were small, but their cries were fierce. Alive. The doctor lowered them gently onto her chest. Little faces pressed against her skin. You fought for them, the doctor said softly, and they fought for you. Sienna felt the heat of their bodies, their breaths, their lives. Tears pooled in her eyes, not from pain, from awe. A daughter. A son. She touched their tiny fingers. They curled around hers instinctively, holding her, choosing her. They didn't know heartbreak. They didn't know abandonment. They only knew her heartbeat. She whispered, voice fragile, My babies. The nurse wiped her forehead gently. They need you to stay alive. Stay alive. Not for Alexander. Not for love lost. For them. Hours passed. Morning softened the room with gentle light. Sienna lay in her hospital bed, twins sleeping in their tiny bassinets beside her. Her body was weak, but her heart was fierce. She stared at them like they were a miracle she didn't deserve, because that's what they were. A knock echoed, soft, official. A man entered wearing a suit and holding a file. Ms. Sinclair? Her spine stiffened at the formality. Yes? He set the documents on her bedside table. These marriage files were never submitted to the court. She felt the sentence like a blade, slow, deep. He opened the file, showed her, proof, her signature, but no witness, no legal seal, no validation. Alexander never intended to be her husband. He never planned forever. He planned an exit. The officer spoke gently, as if speaking to someone made of shattered glass. Legally, you were never married. Sienna's breath quivered. She looked at her sleeping babies. Her voice shook, but her words were steady. I'll give you love, she whispered to them, even if I never received it. She kissed their tiny foreheads. Her tears wet their soft skin, not tears of regret, tears of resolve. A knock at the door, louder this time. A courier stepped in. Delivery for Sienna Sinclair. Her hands trembled as she took the envelope, her name printed on the front. Bold, clear. Inside, legal documents. She unfolded the first page. Her heart stopped. Annulment, already signed by Alexander Hayes. 4 years later, Chicago. Sienna Parker didn't just survive, she rebuilt. From the ashes of heartbreak, she created Parker Interior Studio, Chicago's most elite luxury interior design firm. She chose every detail, from marble reception desks to skyline view client suites, because she wanted the world to know she never needed saving. Today, sunlight poured across her office as she reviewed sketches for a celebrity penthouse. A tiny hand grabbed her skirt. "Mommy, look!" Ava held up a paper full of uneven stars, her smile missing one front tooth. Sienna kissed her daughter's forehead. Across the room, Noah zoomed a toy car between sample boards, making roaring engine noises. "Vroom! The race car wins!" Sienna couldn't help smiling. Her life wasn't quiet. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. The door swung open with a burst of energy. Her assistant nearly tripped over Noah's toy cars as she waved a thick folder. "Sienna, huge news. We landed a new luxury project, a full package design deal. No haggling, no negotiations." Sienna took the folder casually until her eyes hit the name. Client, Hayes Imperial Group. Her heartbeat faltered. Hayes. Her vision blurred around the edges. No, not that name, not again. Not here. Her assistant continued, oblivious to the earthquake in Sienna's chest. "Their CEO insisted on meeting you personally. No representative, no virtual call." She pointed behind her. "He's already in the lobby." Sienna swallowed hard. Her fingers trembled on the contract. Her past was no longer knocking. It was inside her building. Ava tugged her hand again, sweet and unaware. "Mommy, are you okay?" Sienna forced her breathing to steady. She had cried enough tears for that man. She had raised 3 children alone. She had become a CEO. She would not break. Not now. Not ever. She rose to her full height. She turned toward the entrance doors. The doors slid open. And there he stood. Alexander Hayes, tall, immaculate, frozen. His eyes locked on Sienna. Then his gaze dropped to Ava, holding Sienna's hand. Noah's toy cars scattered at her feet. The crayon drawings taped to her desk. 3 signs of a life he never knew. Alexander's face drained of color. He whispered her name like a ghost he never expected to see again. "Sienna?" Her heart screamed 1,000 memories. But her voice, steady, sharp, unforgiving. "Mr. Hayes, what do you want?" And then Alexander's eyes widened. He saw 3 pairs of tiny shoes neatly lined by Sienna's office wall. His breath hitched. He counted. 1, 2, 3. Sienna steps toward him. Alexander, still stunned, points at the shoes. "Sienna, why are there 3? The glass doors slid open with a soft whisper, but the tension that rushed in felt like a storm hitting a quiet harbor. Sienna froze. Alexander Hayes stood there, exactly where her past should have stayed buried. His eyes swept across the studio, over her designs, over the team staring at him in awe, and then finally, over her. He didn't blink. "Sienna?" She felt that old name slice through her like a blade. Her breath stayed steady, her face unreadable. To you, it's Miss Parker. Alexander's jaw tightened, as if the correction physically hit him. He took a slow step forward, voice lower this time. I didn't know. You never cared to know. The room fell silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Her assistant quietly ushered the employees away. Sensing the temperature drop. Door clicks, footsteps fading, leaving only the three of them standing in the echo of old mistakes. Alexander studied her, as if he couldn't reconcile the woman before him with the girl he once discarded. The elegant black jumpsuit, the fearless eyes, the aura of someone who no longer chased validation. She was power wrapped in composure. He swallowed. You look successful, she finished, arching a brow. Because I am. Before he could respond, heels clacked aggressively against the marble floor. Olivia Hayes. Perfect hair, perfect lips, perfect arrogance, and still the same poison in her smile. Oh. Her gaze slid over Sienna like she was examining a cheap fabric sample. Still playing decorator, Sienna? Sienna didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't shrink. She stepped closer, tilting her head slightly. Still picking up men who never truly choose you. Olivia blinked. Once, twice. Her confident smirk cracked around the edges. Alexander looked between them, suddenly speechless. He wasn't used to Sienna standing her ground. He wasn't used to being the one caught off balance. Something sharp flickered in Olivia's eyes. Alexander cleared his throat. We're here for a professional meeting. Sienna nodded casually. So, behave professionally. Olivia's lips twitched like she wanted to claw Sienna's face. We are married, Sienna. He chose... No, Sienna cut in, voice calm but lethal. He chose convenience, not love. Alexander's breath stalled. Sienna walked to the presentation board and tapped her pen against the architectural layout. You requested a proposal. I'll present it. Nothing more. Alexander stared at her. Really stared. This wasn't a girl begging for space in his life. This was a woman who owned her world. Miss Parker, he said quietly, you've changed. No, she whispered, eyes locked with his. I just stopped bleeding for people who never bothered to care. He felt that. Olivia huffed an irritated laugh. You're dramatic. And you're insecure, Sienna said, sliding the mock-up across the table. Olivia grabbed the paper a little too hard. Alexander didn't look away from Sienna. Not once. He was reading every line of her face, the strength, the self-respect, the unshakable calm. It was suffocating him. How long? He asked softly. Have you been this... person? Sienna smiled just slightly. Since the day you taught me I was disposable. Olivia's face reddened. You think this makes you powerful? Acting cold? No, Sienna said, turning toward the large screen. Building a life without him made me powerful. Alexander flinched like the words slapped him. Sienna clicked the remote, activating the first slide. The lights dimmed. Her voice filled the room. Steady, practiced, confident. This is the design, she began. She didn't feel nervous, didn't feel small, didn't feel anything except control. Alexander watched her the entire time. Not the designs, not the slides. Her. He was drowning in the realization of what he had lost. When the presentation ended, Sienna closed the laptop smoothly. So, she said, shall we finalize the contract? Alexander opened his mouth, but suddenly, a tiny voice pierced the room from the hallway, frantic and high-pitched. Mommy! Everyone turned. Mommy! Noah climbed the lighting panel! Sienna's blood turned to ice. She whirled around and saw Noah's small body dangling from the top of the studio wall. Noah's tiny fingers clung to the metal railing of the lighting panel. Way too high, way too dangerous. Sienna's heart stopped. "Noah, don't move!" Her voice cracked like glass. Ava stood below, arms raised, panicked. "I told him no, Mommy. He didn't listen." Noah giggled, completely unaware of the danger. "Look, Mommy, I'm tall." Alexander's entire face drained of color. He instinctively stepped forward. "I'll get him." Sienna threw her arm out, blocking him without hesitation. "Don't go near him." Alexander froze. Her eyes weren't afraid. They were protective, fierce, explosive with maternal instinct. Sienna moved toward the ladder built into the wall, her heels clicking rapidly against the polished floor. She kicked them off halfway, bare feet gripping the metal rungs as she climbed. "Noah, baby, keep holding. Mommy's coming." Alexander took a slow step closer, unable to breathe properly. "He's going to slip. Don't speak." He swallowed his words. Olivia leaned against a desk, arms crossed, bored. "It's just a kid. Why is everyone panicking like it's the end of the world?" Sienna nearly snapped her neck, turning to glare at her. "That child is my world." Olivia rolled her eyes. "Drama runs in the family, clearly." Alexander shot Olivia a warning glare. "Enough." Those two words held weight, more than Olivia expected. Sienna reached Noah, her chest rising and falling hard, her fingers wrapped around his small body. "Hey," she whispered, voice trembling with relief. "You're safe. Mommy's got you." Noah beamed proudly. "I climbed like Spider-Man." Sienna kissed his forehead, practically wrapping herself around him. "No climbing without Mommy. Okay?" "But, Noah." "Okay." She carried him down slowly, one step at a time. When her bare foot touched the ground, adrenaline hit her so hard her knees almost buckled. Ava ran into her leg, hugging tightly. "You scared me, Noah." Noah blinked innocently. "I scared me too." Her assistant rushed toward them with a first aid kit. "Sienna, is he hurt? Should we call someone?" "No, he's fine," she breathed out, holding Noah close. Only then did she realize Alexander was still staring. Not at Noah, at her, at the way she protected them, at the strength she'd become. He stepped closer, voice low and raw. He's yours." Sienna stiffened. "Yes, he is mine. And the girl, she's mine too." He blinked slowly, trying to digest the weight of that. "You're a mother." "I've been a mother for 4 years, Alexander." "You're just discovering it now." He looked at Noah again, something unreadable breaking inside him. "Twins," he whispered. "Just like—" She cut him off sharply. "Don't try to connect dots now. You forfeited that right." Olivia scoffed. "Sienna, don't flatter yourself. Those kids don't even—" But she stopped when Noah turned and looked at Alexander with wide, curious eyes, deep blue. Alexander froze. Noah stared too long, too intensely. Sienna shifted Noah to her other hip, as if shielding him from being examined. "We're done here. I'll assign another project manager." Alexander shook his head. "No, I want you on this project. And I don't work with people who emotionally destroy me." Olivia barked a laugh. "The world doesn't revolve around your trauma." Sienna faced her with terrifying calm. "The world doesn't revolve around you either." Olivia grabbed Alexander's arm. "Let's go. We're done." Alexander didn't move. His gaze was pinned on Sienna. "Noah," he said quietly, trying the name. It felt like something sacred on his tongue. Noah blinked. "You know, Mommy?" Alexander's throat tightened. "Yes." Noah tilted his head. "You're tall." Alexander almost smiled. "Yes." Sienna stepped back, separating distance with certainty. "Noah. Ava. Let's go." Ava grabbed her mother's hand. Noah looked over Sienna's shoulder at Alexander and whispered, just loud enough for Sienna to hear. That man, he looks like me. Sienna's heart clenched so hard she could barely breathe. She walked away without looking back. As the doors closed behind her, Alexander didn't breathe. He couldn't. His voice broke into a whisper only the empty room heard. Are they mine? Sienna's phone buzzed as she reached the elevator. A single message on the screen. DNA test request. Alexander Hayes. The storm came fast. Wind, thunder, sheets of rain slamming against the pavement. Sienna pulled Noah and Ava closer, trying to shelter them from the lightning that split the sky like anger. She just wanted to leave the event hall, just wanted to breathe. But Alexander caught her arm, not forcefully, not ruthlessly, just desperately. Sienna, he breathed, rain soaking his hair, dripping down his face. She didn't turn. She didn't trust her voice. She barely trusted her own legs. He stepped in front of her, blocking her path. His chest rose and fell like he'd run miles. Don't walk away from me. She met his eyes, sharp and defensive. I walked away 4 years ago. You just didn't notice. Rain blurred her mascara, turning into black streaks down her cheeks. Not tears. Rain. Sienna, please, his voice cracked. He reached for her hand. She stepped back as if his touch burned. Don't. Her voice was small but edged with steel. You don't get to touch me like you own the right. Alexander swallowed. I don't want ownership, he whispered. I want a chance. Sienna blinked slowly, soaking wet hair sticking to her forehead. A chance? She repeated. You had your chance the moment I told you I was carrying your children. His breath hitched. The guilt landed like a punch. I was scared, he said. I was terrified of being tied to someone, terrified of losing control. She laughed, but it wasn't joy. Love isn't control, she said quietly. Love is choosing someone, every single day. The rain poured harder. He stepped closer. I choose you now. Her lips parted, the disbelief raw. You don't get to choose me after destroying me. Alexander's jaw tightened. A muscle ticked dangerously near his temple. I didn't know any better. You didn't want to, she corrected. Silence. Only rain. Only thunder. Noah peeked from behind Sienna's legs, wide-eyed. Mommy, he whispered, is that man making you sad? Alexander froze. Sienna knelt, brushing Noah's soaked hair from his forehead. No one can make Mommy sad, she lied, unless she lets them. Noah nodded, trusting her completely. Alexander's eyes dropped to the children. Let me be their father, he whispered. Sienna's breath caught. Where was that sentence when I was giving birth alone? She said. He flinched as if she slapped him. I didn't know, he whispered, voice hoarse. You fainted. I panicked. Olivia told me. Sienna stood tall. Olivia told you? So you chose her lies over my truth. Lightning cracked across the sky. Alexander's voice fell to a whisper. I wasn't ready to love you. She didn't blink. That's the cruelest part, Alexander, she said. You love the power. You love the convenience. But you never loved me. His eyes shone. And then he dropped to his knees, right there, in the mud, in the freezing rain, in front of the woman he once discarded. The children stared, confused. Ava clutched Sienna's leg tighter. Mommy! He's kneeling. Sienna's heart hammered painfully. Stand up, she said, voice shaking. You don't get to fall apart now. No. He shook his head, rain dripping from his jaw. For once, I'm not running. He looked up at her like she was moonlight in a hurricane. Sienna, I was blind. I was selfish. I was everything you didn't deserve. She closed her eyes, the words slicing into places she buried deep. Let me be their father, he begged. Let me make things right. She stared down at him, shaking. I don't trust you. I'll earn it. You can't erase the past. I'll build a future. You broke us. I'll fix me. There it was, a truth he never said. Not fix you. Not fix us, fix me. Rain pooled around him, soaking through his suit. He didn't care. He didn't wipe his face. He didn't break eye contact. Noah tugged Sienna's dress carefully. Mommy, he whispered, honest and pure. Why is that man crying? Alexander choked. Because, he said softly, I finally see what matters. Sienna's lips trembled. Her throat tightened. This was the moment she once prayed for, begged for, cried for. But now that it was here, it felt too late. Words are not enough, she whispered. I know, he said. That's why I'm not asking for forgiveness. He pressed his palm to his chest. I'm asking for a chance to prove love. The storm howled around them. A flash of lightning lit up the sky. Sienna's heart beat painfully slow. Don't make promises you can't keep, she said. I kept one, he whispered. She frowned. What promise? He looked directly into her soul. The promise that I would always come back to you. Her breath hitched. He wasn't lying. Not this time. His voice broke again. Sienna, please, don't end this before I start trying. Her voice trembled. Trying doesn't erase abandonment. No, he whispered, but maybe it can rewrite the ending. They stared at each other through rain and regret. He reached out a shaking hand. She didn't take it. She couldn't. Not yet. Her voice fell to a whisper, barely audible. Don't kneel in the rain, Alexander. He shook his head. I'll kneel until you believe me. A sharp click cut through the storm. Sienna whipped her head toward the sound. Olivia stood under an umbrella, holding her phone toward them, taking pictures. The sound of Olivia's phone camera still echoed in Sienna's skull. Click. A photograph that could destroy everything. Rain still dripped from her eyelashes when she left the parking lot. Noah held her hand. Ava curled into her side. They didn't ask questions, but Alexander stayed behind in the storm. He watched until her car disappeared. He didn't care that his knees were soaked or that people stared from the lobby windows. He just whispered into the rain, I won't lose them this time. Next morning, the world had exploded. Every news channel, every gossip blog, every business headline. His phone kept vibrating like it was having a panic attack. He finally grabbed it. Breaking news, billionaire Alexander Hayes seen begging woman with twins. A second headline followed. Who is she? Secret family? Alexander's throat tightened as 1,000 comments flooded under the article. Is he cheating on Olivia? Those kids look like him. Finally, karma hits the billionaire. He slammed his phone down, breathing hard. This wasn't a PR crisis. This was personal. He marched down the hallway of his corporate tower with a fury no one had ever seen. Assistants scrambled out of his way. Secretaries pretended not to breathe. He barged into Olivia's private office without knocking. She sat at her glossy white desk, legs crossed, sipping iced coffee like it was a perfectly normal morning. She didn't look surprised. She looked satisfied. Alexander slammed the tabloid magazine onto her desk. You leaked those photos. Olivia blinked slowly. Then she smiled. Finally, the world knows you're pathetic. Alexander stared. He had never seen her face this twisted, this cruel. Why would you do that? He asked. She stood, eyes blazing. Because I did everything for you, she shouted, slamming her palms against the desk. I cleaned up your messes, took care of you, handled the scandal when your father died. He cut her off. You mean you controlled it? You controlled me. Olivia's eyes flickered, but she didn't deny it. I shaped you into who you are today, she hissed. Without me, you would have drowned in your emotions. Alexander leaned forward, voice deadly calm. You didn't save me. He paused, letting every syllable land. You kept me caged. Olivia laughed, sharp, unhinged. Oh, come on. That girl. She's nothing. A nobody. You think she can survive in your world? Alexander's jaw tightened. She survived without me. She built her world without me. Olivia scoffed. You think she'll forgive you? You think those kids need you? You think she even wants you in their life? Alexander didn't hesitate. She doesn't need me. He paused, voice cracking. But I need them. Olivia's throat bobbed as she swallowed. You're throwing away everything we built? She whispered. He turned toward the door. We never built anything. He glanced over his shoulder. You built a prison and called it a relationship. He walked out. Olivia's voice chased him like a ghost. You'll come back. You always come back. For the first time, he didn't look back. He drove straight to Sienna's studio, heart hammering. He didn't know if she would open the door. He didn't know if she would scream or cry or slam it in his face. But he knew one thing. He wasn't leaving until she heard him. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Footsteps approached. The door cracked open. Noah stood there, tiny hands gripping the frame. His pajamas had dinosaurs on them. His hair was messy. He looked half asleep. But his eyes were Alexander's. Noah's voice was soft. Are you here to make Mommy cry again? Alexander's breath broke in his chest. No, he whispered. I'm here to make sure she never cries again. Ava peeked from behind her brother, clutching her stuffed bunny. Mommy said you're just a stranger, she said. He kneeled, lowering himself to their height. I don't want to be a stranger. A tiny frown formed on Noah's face. Then what do you want? Alexander's voice shook. I want to be your dad. The twins exchanged a look, the private kind of conversation only siblings understand. Then Noah asked the question that shattered him. Do you love our mommy? Alexander closed his eyes. When he opened them, there was no hesitation. I never stopped. His voice wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth or confident. It was raw, broken, honest. Noah touched Alexander's cheek as if checking for truth. Mommy says love is choosing. Alexander swallowed. Then I choose her, not just today, every day. The studio door opened wider. Sienna stood there. Her eyes were red, but not from crying, from decision. Words aren't enough, she whispered. Alexander nodded. I know. Her voice dropped to a whisper that hit like a punch. Show me. Before he could speak, Sienna walked past him, not toward him, away from him. Sienna's words hang in the air, soft but sharp. Show me. Not whispered in anger, not whispered in hope, just truth. Alexander swallows. Action. Not apologies, not speeches. Action. Days turn into weeks. He shows up every morning at her apartment building. No guards, no chauffeur, no arrogance, only effort. He knocks. Gentle, never demanding. Ava opens the door first. Her tiny pigtails bounce as she runs. Mommy, the tall man is here again. Sienna appears behind her. Hair messy, tired eyes, guarded expression. She doesn't invite him in. But she doesn't close the door, either. That's enough for him. Good morning, he says softly. She nods. He learns how to earn access to her world. The next morning he tries something new. He shows up with pancakes, burned on one side, undercooked on the other. Ava gasps dramatically. No offense, but Mommy cooks better. He laughs for the first time in years. I believe you. Sienna watches from the doorway, arms crossed, fighting a smile, not ready to forgive, but unable to deny the warmth. Day 3. He kneels beside Ava on the couch. She holds out a hairbrush. Braid my hair. Alexander hesitates. He watches a tutorial on his phone. He fails, miserably. Sienna tries not to laugh. Please stop. It looks like a bird nest. Ava giggles. I like it. Daddy tried. The word hits him like a punch. Daddy. He blinks away warmth. He ties the elastic wrong. Ava pats his cheek. It's okay. You can try again tomorrow. He nods. Tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into routine. He shows up to cook breakfast. He burns toast again. Smoke alarm screams. Kids scream louder. Sienna opens windows, laughing despite herself. He takes the kids to school. He waits outside her studio after work. He carries her boxes during client visits. He stays. No running. No disappearance. Not once does he bring up the past. He lets his actions speak instead. One evening, rain begins pouring outside. Sienna sweeps hair off her face. Why are you still here? He looks up from building a Lego castle with Noah. Because family doesn't leave when it rains. Her heart flinches. He learns how Noah hates loud noises, how Ava loves glitter, how Sienna keeps her sadness tucked behind a perfect smile. He learns. Every day. Not because she demanded it, because he wants to know them. All of them. One night, Noah struggles with homework. Math frustrates him. Alexander crouches down. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Noah whispers. No one's ever stayed. Alexander's voice shakes. I will. Something inside Sienna aches, breaks, softens. By week 7, he's folding laundry on her couch. Ava climbs onto his lap. Story time. He opens a book. Wrong side, upside down. Both kids cackle. Daddy, you're holding it wrong. Daddy. Not Alexander. Not Mr. Hayes. Daddy. Sienna stares at them. Her children, their laughter, his presence. A home she never had before. One night, after the kids fall asleep, Sienna steps onto the balcony. Why now? She whispers. Alexander joins her. He doesn't touch her. He doesn't try to. Because I finally understand love, he says. It's not fear, not possession, not convenience. He takes a breath. It's waking up and choosing someone, even on the days they don't choose you back. Her heart stutters. She walks inside without answering. He doesn't follow, not forcing, not pushing, letting her decide. On the 9th week, dinner smells delicious. The table is set. Candles light the room. Sienna assumes he cooked. He shakes his head. Ava and Noah helped. I supervised. The twins beam proudly. Alexander clears his throat, hands slightly trembling. Sienna, I need to show you something. He places a small velvet box on the dining table. Not flashy, not extravagant, soft, intentional. Sienna freezes. Her breath catches. Alexander opens it slowly. Inside, a ring. Simple, elegant. A symbol, not a statement. His voice cracks. We never had a real marriage. He stands, then kneels. Not dramatic, not staged, just real. This time the papers are filed, he whispers. No runaway groom. No shredded vows. No secrets. He places a folder beside the ring. Legal documents, marriage license, witness signatures. Sienna's heart falters. You already filed it? He nods. I went to court 3 times. They thought I was crazy. A breathless laugh escapes her. He reaches for her hand, gentle, terrified. This time it's not a contract of ownership. It's a promise of choice. Her eyes fill. Only if you choose us every day. He kisses her palms. I already do. Ava runs in. Noah follows. They crash into their legs, hugging them both. Ava shouts, We're a family now. Noah nods fiercely. Our daddy stays. Sienna looks at Alexander. He looks back, steady, hopeful. Home. Before Sienna can answer, the front door slams open. A cold voice echoes, Actually, he can't marry you. They turn. Olivia stands there, holding custody papers.